Hi everybody, Kat here. Welcome to my channel. It's Good Friday. We're heading into the Easter long weekend. Happy Easter, everyone. We've got some updates and I've got some opinions, so let's get started. First off, we now have seen the official invitation to the coronation printed on recycled paper. It has a garden motif around the border of wildflowers and plants in Great Britain. One of the biggest features is right at the bottom, a representation of the Green Man, who in mythology and pagan religion represents rebirth, renewal, hence the bough of green leaves about his head. And interestingly enough, this pagan symbol has been around not only in Great Britain, but in Europe and the Asian continent for centuries. Paganistic, translated into today's time, I'm not altogether surprised to see it on the invitation, given Charles's penchant for, green gardening, green energy, the green agenda, earth worship, Gaia. That's where the Green Man comes in, very pagan. And I find this very interesting on an invitation to a coronation, which at the heart of it portends to be a serious religious ceremony. The royal family attributes its lineage all the way back to the throne of King David in the Bible. And they believe and want us to believe that they've been anointed by God to rule. And this is their authority. This is why when you have the anointing, which we'll see at King Charles' coronation, they anoint him with holy oil. It's a very religious ceremony. So to see such a pagan image as a representation included in this ceremony, I find is quite striking, and you can read a lot into that or nothing at all. I guess it's just the way you look at it. But in fact, in other religious ceremonies, such as marriages and things in the royal family, you almost inevitably see elements of mythology, elements of paganism. William and Kate's marriage had a lot of mythological and paganistic representation. And I'm planning to do another video all about that because I think it's interesting. But for now, let's just stick to the coronation. The Green Man on the invitation. I thought that was quite interesting. Another thing we noticed on the invitation is that Camilla is called Queen Camilla. There's been a bit of a hubbub about this. They've dropped the Queen Consort, and I've heard arguments for and against this, why they did it, what it means. But it is what it is, and when you marry the king, you are the queen. So we've got that, Queen Camilla. So the invitations are ready. They're being sent out, and yet we hear that Meghan and Harry still have not RSVP'd. They've still not confirmed whether or not they're going to be attending the coronation. Now, my thoughts. They won't say whether they want to be there or not because we know that their appearance, what they're trying to do, is make it contingent on whether or not their demands will be met, such as them being on the balcony, her getting a tiara, a special role for Archie to play, special recognition somewhere in the festivities because it's his fourth birthday. They want all this attention upon themselves just to attend. Now, if I was the palace and I was King Charles, I mean, an event like this takes months and months to plan and execute and carry out. A lot of moving parts to a big ceremony like this. Lot of things to organize in the course of the 3-day celebrations. And if Meghan and Harry can't be polite enough to say whether they're coming or not, just go ahead and plan it without them. Sorry. You didn't tell us you were going to be coming. There's no seat in the Abbey for you. Sorry. You should have let us know. Honest to God, they should not be suffering 1 minute of grief over Meghan and Harry. You don't have the consideration to let us know whether you're coming or not. We're not including you in any plans at all. That's how it should be. Show the little buggers that they can't hold everybody ransom. That, in my opinion, is how that should be dealt with. They're losing favor all over the ground, and Fergie again pops up. Of course, she's doing a bit of the media rounds on the talk shows and things because of the release of her new novel. So she's been in the public eye a little bit, and inevitably the question comes around about the coronation, about her opinion of Harry and Meghan. Some have been brave enough to even ask after Prince Andrew. But here she's come out at times, even after Meghan had said, oh yeah, she was one that taught her how to curtsy. Fergie's come out and said, I barely know the girl. Most recently, when asked about her opinion of Meghan and Harry, she said, well, they're the ones that wanted out. If you want out, get out. You can't be out and in. You can't be both. She was mimicking what the Queen had said, what the palace had said. So, I think to a degree, and I'm not 100% sure, I find it very interesting how just a few months ago, Fergie was kind of pushed out front. I think she's a bit of a foil against Andrew. Keeping him calm, give Fergie a little bit more attention, and she might do your bidding. I think there's a bit of that going on in the palace, but also I think Fergie has her own agenda, as she always has. If what I've said all along is true, Fergie knows this. And what I've said all along is that Meghan's buddy, Marcus Anderson, is the illegitimate son of Prince Andrew. The connection is Soho House. The connections go to Jeffrey Epstein. The connections go to Peter Nygard and all, the yacht girl stuff. The favors done and the favors asked. Just for somebody that Andrew barely knew because he was just a +1 to his friend Ghislaine. He barely knew Epstein, but somehow Epstein gave his wife, Fergie, $75,000 to pay off some debts. I mean, just a nice stranger, friend of a friend, said, oh, heard your wife needs $75,000. Not a problem. These things don't happen, folks. Come on. I think there's so many entanglements, and things are getting close to the bone, and things are getting close to being exposed, that Fergie is trying to do a little bit of damage control and distance herself and her girls from Meghan Markle. I think Fergie knows what's coming down. And she is very well aware because it's happened in her own life. When the shit hits the fan, it sprays everybody. And she doesn't want to get sprayed this time. So I think we'll hear and see a little bit more from Sarah, the Duchess of York. From the sounds of it, she's not going to be at the coronation. But that doesn't matter. If she can, she's working her agenda behind the scenes. I think we ought to keep an eye on what Fergie says and does. I think that's kind of important. Now, another interesting development this week was the addition of Jacinda Ardern to the Earthshot organization. Now, Jacinda Ardern is the past Prime Minister of New Zealand. She's a real New World Order fascist type authoritarian, in my opinion. And she has come on board with Earthshot as a board member. Now, for William, sure, having world leaders on board with your initiatives looks good, but I don't know that it's a good idea necessarily to have someone so woke and yet so authoritarian aligned with you. Because there's a lot of people that saw what she did and have a negative opinion about it. I'm not sure that she is the right person to be a representative of Earthshot. I mean, I have my whole opinion about the whole climate change and Earthshot and World Economic Forum, the green agenda, and William and Charles are caught right up in it. As much as they're world leaders, they're also patsies and pawns to the New World Order agenda, and that's just the way I feel about it. So I'm not sure that that's necessarily a good thing. So we've got a lot of stuff to go on. We've got to watch what Fergie says and does. We've got to watch what Jacinda Ardern says and does. We're still waiting with bated breath to see if Meghan and Harry will show up for the coronation. I really wouldn't give a shit if they haven't bothered to get in touch with anybody and confirm whether they're going or not. I would just say, well, it's too late, you're out. I wouldn't give them any consideration at all. I guess we'll see what happens. And we've got a month to go. And there's a new scandal brewing with a university professor has done some research and discovered ties to payments for slavery from the royal family going back to the 1600s. So he is starting a little bandwagon calling for repudiation and reparations from the royal family. Like, who the hell are you supposed to pay off? How much is enough? That's the problem when you get yourself embroiled in these kind of issues. And this is just what Charles does every time, puts his foot in it. This guy had gone to him and mentioned, mentioned this. Charles gets involved. Well, I'm very interested. I want to see. I want to go back in history and look at this and see how, in fact, the royal family was involved and how it all plays out. So he's just stepping into a bear trap. Once you give any consideration to the wokists, they've got you. You can't wiggle away. Nothing you do is ever going to be good enough. And this kind of a statement, this kind of a movement, just taking hold a month before the coronation. A month is a goodly amount of time to organize big protests. You know? Slavery, this, that, and the other. And Charles has put his foot in it. He agrees with them that it's, an egregious thing. So what are you going to do about it, Chucky? How much money and to whom is going to be good enough to justify your existence now? Like, he's in a really bad spot. He's in a really bad spot. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. We got a month till the coronation. I've said before, I'm not 100% sure there's actually going to be a coronation. We'll have to wait and see, but things are getting interesting now. Have a great day, everybody. Like, subscribe, share this if you enjoyed it, and please leave me a comment. I'd love to know what you're thinking about it. Have a great day, everybody. Happy Easter. Bye-bye.